Hi, my name is Víctor Rincón and I'm going to talk about the nervous system. The nervous system is responsible for the behaviors that involve the individual. It is responsible for emotions and language. The nervous system divides in central nervous system, which includes the encephalon and the spinal cord, and also in peripheral nervous system, which includes the nerves and the ganglia. From a functional point of view, it divides in voluntary and autonomic. From the general functional organization, it divides in motor, which has to do with the voluntary movements, in sensory, which has to do with the stimuli, and in cognitive, which has to do with the brain. The nervous system consists of neurons and glial cells. Neurons classify unipolar, which are in the embryo stage, pseudonipolar, which have single prolongation, bipolar, which have two prolongations, and multipolar, which have multiple dendrites. Neurons also divide in sensory neurons, which take information from outside the organism, motor neurons that originate in the central nervous system, and interneurons which communicate with other neurons.
Hello, I am Sofía Jaramillo and I'm going to talk to you about the glial cells. First, the glial cells are divided into several subtypes. First, we have the astrocytes that have numerous extensions in the radial form, emulating a stellar appearance, and they are the most abundant glial cell. Its function is to eliminate waste substances from the nervous tissue, facilitating the passage of some energetic metabolites. It contributes to the formation of the blood-brain barrier and the process of tissue repair. Next, we have oligodendrocytes that have fewer prolongations and are responsible for forming the protein that covers some of the axons of the central nervous system, called myelin. Moving on, we have microglia that are tiny and few cells, and they are the defense cells of the immune system in the central nervous system. They eliminate the phagocytes. Next, we have the Schwann cells that are the counterpart of the oligodendrocytes. They are responsible for the formation of the myelin sheath in the axons of the peripheral nerves. Lastly, we have the ependymal cells that line the walls of the intracerebral cavities. Now I'm going to talk about synapses. Synapses are nervous tissues that have a structure that resembles a complex interconnected network of cells. They produce all the functions of the nervous system. The first type is classified into a chemical synapse that has interaction between the neurons and is mediated by a chemical substance that is released by a neuron and is captured by a different neuron. The receptors recognize each neurotransmitter in this chemical synapse. Now, electrical synapses in which there is no chemical mediator causes the changes in a neuron to be transmitted directly into the adjacent neuron. Synapses occur between specialized sites of neuronal membranes. The most frequent are between an axon and a dendrite. The complete process of a synaptic transition is this one. The first step is the synthesis and storage of a neurotransmitter in the presynaptic neuron. The second one is the release of the neurotransmitter. Moving on is the union of the neurotransmitter to the receptor. The fourth step is to recapture and catabolism of the neurotransmitter, and the fifth step is the enzymatic degradation, in which some enzymes degrade the neurotransmitter so that their recycling is furthered.
Alzheimer's disease is the most frequent cause of dementia worldwide, described by Alois Alzheimer, German psychiatrist and pathologist in 1908. This disease is most frequent on individuals that are older than 65 years and is characterized by the progressive loss of memory for recent events. The epilepsy is also a most frequent neurological disease and is characterized by the presence and recurrence of various types of crises of cerebral origin, which can have very distinctive manifestations. The most frequent is called the motor compulsive crisis, in which the subject shows sudden and disordered muscle movements. Then it's the Parkinson. This is the most second frequent neurodegenerative disease after Alzheimer, and this disease is characterized by three symptoms: the tremor in the extremities, the limitation for muscle mobility, and slowness.
My name is Alejandra, and I am going to talk about the endocrine system, that is a group of cells that form glands isolated in the epithelium of the respiratory and the digestive system. In both cases, the cells secrete the molecules that function as chemical messengers called hormones. This system is based on the glands, and the first one is the pituitary gland, that is located in the sella turcica, and that is a cavity at the base of the skull. This gland consists in an anterior lobe and a posterior lobe. The first one is constituted by endocrine cells that are surrounded by blood capillaries that transport the regulatory factors from the hypothalamus that control the activity of the endocrine cell. The second one is formed by nerve fibers that are the actions of neurons whose cell's body is located in the hypothalamus. The second one is the pineal gland, or the epiphysis, that is located in the midline of the brain. It receives the nervous innervation that connects the gland with the photoreceptor cells of the retina. The third gland is the thyroid gland, and it is located in the anterior part of the neck. Then we have the parathyroid gland that is located in the neck, and they are surrounded by a connective tissue that enters the parenchyma, containing adipocytes and abundant blood capillaries. And we have the kidney glands, that these tissue are divided into. The first one is the cortex, and the second one is the medulla. The cortex is divided in three zones. The glomerular.
Pancreatic islets are a group of cells that are located in the pancreas and are formed by different cell types that secrete specific hormones. Adrenal glands are two glands located in each kidney. They are divided into the cortex and the medulla. The cortex is divided into three zones: the glomerular, which secretes mineralocorticoids, the fascicular, which secretes glucocorticoids, and the reticular, which secretes androgens. The medulla is formed by ganglion cells, chromaffin cells, nerve fibers, abundant capillaries, and connective tissue. Hypothyroidism is a disease of the endocrine system, and it happens when the thyroid gland can produce enough thyroid. Diabetes mellitus is a disease of the endocrine system in which the blood glucose levels remain high. This happens because the body has problems producing insulin, which is the substance that takes the glucose from the blood and allows it to enter to the cells. There are two types of diabetes. The type 1 is when the pancreatic islets don't secrete insulin, and type 2 caused by a relative deficiency of insulin or a resistance to this. Hypophyseal dwarfism is another disease of the endocrine system and is characterized by having a short stature and immaturity features in the skeleton because of low amounts of growth hormones produced from birth. Gigantism occurs when there is an excess growth hormone during childhood and before puberty. The most critical points to prevent diseases related to the endocrine system are: 1. A healthy diet that maintains an adequate weight. 2. To incorporate all the necessary nutrients for a well-functioning of the cells. 3. Be aware of family history to perform periodic medical checks to timely diagnosis. 4. Carry out regular physical exercise to reduce stress. And 5. Sleep all the necessary hours.
Hello, my name is Sofía, and I'm going to talk to you about the first half of the female reproductive system, which consists of the ovaries, the uterus, and the fallopian tubes. The ovaries are responsible for the production of oocytes and the production of the female hormones that are estrogen and progesterone. The fallopian tubes that are also known as oviducts or uterine tubes. These are about 10 centimeters long, and it has two ends. One is attached to the uterus and the other one is connected to the fimbriae. The uterus is an inverted pear-shaped organ with an average size of 7.5 centimeters long by 5 centimeters wide. It is divided in three parts: the upper zone where the oviducts are inserted, the center, that is the body of the uterus, and the lower portion, that is the cervix, which extends into the vagina. One of the functions of the uterus is to implant a fertilized ovum in order to allow pregnancy and childbirth. The uterus is divided into the inner layer, that is called the endometrium, and consists of the functional and basal layers.
The vagina is an organ that acts as an outlet for the menstrual flow, as it also acts as a receptacle for the penis during intercourse. It also constitutes part of the birth canal. It has three parts: the inner layer, which has folds that allow distension, and microbiota that maintains a slightly acid pH. The muscular layer that allows its adaptation to the penis and fetus, and the lower end, which has a thin membrane with abundant blood capillaries called hymen.
The vulva includes the external genitalia, pubic mouth, which is an area where the skin has abundant pubic hair and fatty tissue, the labia majora, which are folds with pubic hair, and sweat and sebaceous glands. The labia minora is similar but without pubic hair. The clitoris is a structure with erectile tissue formed by many blood vessels and nerves. And then we have the vestibule, which includes the area where the urethral and vaginal orifices are located, as well as the outlet of the ducts that form glands that produce the mucus secretion. Mammary glands are even organs responsible for milk production. Milk-producing cells are organized in the structures called alveoli, and several alveoli form lobules, which are joined to form milk ducts or galactophores, which near their outlet are dilatations called lactiferous sinuses.
My name is Alejandra, and I'm going to talk about the menstrual cycle. That is the process where the hormones regulate the maturation of the oocytes, the ovulation, and the process that prepares the uterus for the implantation of it. This process lasts about 28 days and has 4 phases. The first one is called menstrual phase, and this represents the beginning of the menstruation, where the fertilization is absent and the levels of estrogen and progesterone are diminished. Then we have the process of pre-ovulation, in which we change from menstruation to ovulation. In this phase, only one ovary will be in complete maturation and will be ready to ovulate. Then we have the phase of ovulation, in which the peak of estrogen production triggers in the pituitary gland to the production of luteinizing hormone LH, which is the one that promotes the rupture of the mature ovarian follicle and release the oocyte. The last phase is the one that has the name of postovulatory phase, in which the ovarian follicle from which the oocyte was released present a small hemorrhage, and the cells that comprise it are organized, giving an origin to the corpus luteum and beginning to produce progesterone, and estrogen.
Hello, my name is Alejandro, and I will talk about the male reproductive system that consists of testicles, the conducts of the male reproductive systems, and the penis. And then I will talk about the diseases. Testicles are scrotal bags at a temperature of 2 to 3 Celsius degrees. This is lower than body temperature. This allows the proper development of a sperm, and in testicles is where the sperm is developed, and that process is called spermatogenesis, which begins at puberty. While on the accessory glands, the semen is made up of sperm and secretion of the accessory glands. The secretion of the two seminal vesicles contributes 60% of all of the semen that contains sugar, fructose, that is used as an energy source by the sperm. Since its pH is alkaline, it counteracts the acidic pH of the male urethra and vagina. The volume of the semen during each ejaculation is 2.5 to 5 milliliters and contains 50 to 150 sperm per milliliter. Okay, the penis is the copulatory organ. It has the urethra, which is the road for ejaculation, and the emission of urine, which is an structure formed by erectile tissue that fills with the blood during sexual interaction to maintain the erection of the penis.
Hi, my name is Víctor, and I'm going to talk about the importance of the contraceptive methods. First of all, contraceptive methods are primarily used to avoid pregnancy. Some of them are also used to avoid diseases. There are several types of contraceptive methods. They divide in physical and chemical methods. The physical methods divide into barrier methods, intrauterine devices, and surgical sterilization. The barrier method's function is to prevent the sperm from entering the vagina or the uterus. They include the condom, the vaginal sac, and the diaphragm. Intrauterine devices, or IUD. These are objects that are introduced into the uterus and made of various materials such as plastic and metal. These are very safe methods, and each device can be used up to 10 years. Finally, we have the surgical sterilization. In man, it is called vasectomy. It consists of ligating and cutting the vas deferens of each testicle. In women, this sterilization consists of the ligature and section of both oviducts. This method is the safest. Chemical methods. These divide in hormonal methods. These use hormones that modify the development of the ovarian follicles and inhibit ovulation. They are 100% effective if used correctly. The most utilized hormonal methods are oral contraceptives. There are pills that contain synthetic estrogens and substances with similar function to progesterone. There are also the emergency pills or the next day pills. These contain high levels of estrogen and progesterone that inhibit the production of those hormones by the ovaries. The use of these pills reduces the probability of pregnancy up to 75%. Hormonal implants are capsules with progestin that are implanted under the skin and make a slow and continuous release of hormones for 5 years. The skin patches stick on the skin once a week for 3 weeks, skipping the 4th so menstruation can happen. It is essential to change the patch the same day of the week at the same time. The vaginal ring releases estrogen and progestogens. It is placed at the bottom of the vagina for 3 weeks, and in the 4th week it is removed to let menstruation happen. Finally, we have spermicides. These are drugs that kill sperm. They are applied directly or with sponges that are inserted in the bottom of the vagina. It is one of the least recommended methods.